Alright, we just picked up my dad from the airport. Let's get out of here.
Wow. Waited for the traffic.
Yep.
This is crazy traffic. Look at that. And it has to make lane changes. Actually, this is where I feel like the real human test comes into play, because we know that like the far right lane gets crowded and people stop, and like the bus is gonna stop, so it's a wrong lane to be in.
Well, it knows it's trying to get out,
Uh,
but obviously,
oh, there you go. Wow. Exactly as I would do it. My God, they're really good, really smart. Knows what lane to be in. Very nice. Do you see that? Those traffic lights, they weren't there. I was just imagining them.
no, it's right there. There is a traffic light.
Okay, nobody was still on the screen after we passed it.
Well, there is a traffic light there.
Oh, there is.
Yeah. Once we're under it, it can't read what color it is, but it can see that there's a traffic light there.
Oh. This driving is actually more difficult than driving where traffic is not as crowded and flowing smoothly, because
Yeah.
here you don't know
Of
what
course.
people will do.
High
Now-
density
now
of unpredictable people.
It's probably going to change lane one more time based on this confusion towards the right, but it's not easy to change lanes.
Yeah, nobody's really moving, so doesn't really matter what lane you're in. And the lane lines themselves are pretty faded, but
Yeah, it's figuring them out though.
yeah, it seems to be able to infer where they are just by looking at where the cars are traveling.
See, this is where I would have changed the lanes.
Yeah, I think it wants to change the lane, but there just isn't enough room right now
Yeah,
for it to do that.
but it would be safer to turn on the blinker a little. I had to give people behind you a warning, because sometimes they slow down, they let you go. Ah, look at this guy now trying to cut into our lane. And this guy. And it's handling it really well. Let's see how many people come into our lane. As the construction is ending at LAX, less and less lanes are being blocked. more traffic is flowing, but we still have quite a few lanes blocked on the far right. That parking structure is not open yet from Bradley Terminal. So when people come pick somebody up, it's a nightmare to go to the parking because they have blocked all the lanes.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I know. This is what I was saying, that this car is polite. Come on. This is LA. You let everybody go, then you're going to be here all day. It's managing though very well.
Yeah, better than hitting somebody.
Yeah. I was doing a wonderful job, I tell you that. It's doing way better than my expectations. I don't know if I have that much patience as a driver personally, but I appreciate the technology that it has, the patience. I'd rather have it on the patient side than on the impatient side. See, this is another thing. It doesn't have any issues with patience or impatience. It just does the right thing, irrespective of, you know.
Well, it does try and change lanes to go places faster if it can.
Correct.
So it's not infinitely patient, but I mean, there's a trade-off between trying to get there faster and trying to get there without any interventions. Every maneuver you do is a risk.
Yeah. And I can only imagine the number of computations it's trying to figure out
Yeah.
which maneuver to execute.
Billions and trillions of calculations.
Yeah. One thing I noticed with 12.5, the confidence level it has in knowing how far it is from the car ahead or to the side or whatever is significantly higher. When it changed the lane there, where the bus was right in front of us, it barely was like 18 inches from the bus, or maybe 12 inches as I was turning. And that, confidence level with simply, cameras is just amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, no ultrasonic, nothing. Did the ultrasonic ever provide data into FSD or autopilot ever? No.
No,
They never used it for that, right?
not for FSD.
Look at this guy. Whoa. Not for FSD. But then why did they take it out?
Well, they didn't need it.
Oh, because they can do the same with the cameras.
They can calculate the distance with the cameras.
Correct. So it was just unnecessary hardware.
I mean, the cameras can actually give you some better output. They can give you everything in 3D.
But in terms of being dead accurate on distance, wasn't ultrasonic supposed to be actually more accurate down to the centimeters as compared to cameras, which are down to like few inches?
Yeah, but the cameras can give you a much higher definition image. They can give you a 3D map. The ultrasonics really only give you specific points around the car.
Correct.
So if there was something in between those,
I'm just
for
saying, why not
example-
keep a combination of cameras and ultrasonics?
Well, they just wanted to remove them, simplify
Wow.
everything.
That's actually, come to think of it, those ultrasonic cameras make that fender bender very expensive.
Yeah, there's a lot of benefits to simplifying the car, removing parts.
Yeah. Totally. I was on a business trip. I rented a car, and it was a Mercedes SUV. Yeah, my God, the number of buttons on that thing! Like, I felt like I went 100 years back, and been driving Tesla without any buttons, and suddenly I got like all these buttons all over, right? They're like 18 buttons just on the steering wheel. It's like, my God.
Seriously, yeah.
And a lot of redundant buttons, like they had a volume control on the steering wheel and in the center console and under the screen, and I was like, whoa, how many places do you really need it?
And even with the change in lighting, all these different factors, the camera-based system never messes up in keeping the right gap.
Yeah, that's the thing that amazes me most is, in our area, it gets quite foggy certain times a year, and it's very dense fogs. Even during the dense fogs, it drives so perfectly, and if you look at the camera video, it's so clear. I don't know how they managed to refine that image.
Can you not put that thing up?
Sure.
Yeah, it's amazing. Pretty heavy rain too. It can drive like there's nothing going on.
It does warn you though during heavy rain that FSD might be, degraded.
Yeah.
But during fog, it didn't do that. It just drove with confidence. No problem.
Yeah, I feel like that's more of a disclaimer. It's still able to drive pretty well.
So it's got to change a lane now. Oh, look at this truck's changing into our lane, and it's got to go into far right lane. And there's a car, so it's waiting for the car to pass. Now it's going to change lane, or maybe it's just waiting for the merge to end.
Pretty amazing. Exiting the airport on its own.
Yeah.
From the pickup point, merging onto the highway.
You did that the other day when you dropped me. How was that experience?
It was zero intervention.
But traffic was much less at that time. Actually, the departure level, the traffic is less. Arrival traffic. No?
Departure level is more.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So it was about equal.
It picks up on the blinkers and slows down for them.
Yeah.
One of the busiest freeways in the world is 405. And South Bay Bend is one of the busiest stretch of 405.
Yeah.
It should be changing the lane. A lot of confidence in continue on driving this lane.
Well, there are two lanes. What's wrong with this lane?
But the traffic merges and all of that.
I think it knows what it's doing.
It sure does. This lane now is merging. Okay. Wow, look at that. No blinker yet, waiting for the car to pass. It knows we have we're good for wow. That was something. Did you see what it did? It let the other guy know the car intends to change the lane. Wow. Wow, that's another. This is like a stunt driving, I tell you.
No.
In LA, it's stunt driving, but for any car, oh my God, the car behind us, it doesn't give a shit. Anybody who has to drive in LA has to drive like this, but you can't. Otherwise, people are not going to let you go. You're going to be here for the rest of the day. So it's figured that out. That confidence, my God. Love it.
And this isn't even the end-to-end on the highway yet. When they get end-to-end going
I
on...
think has it changed to a different code now that
No. They haven't gone end-to-end on the highway yet.
But this is just amazing. How they have done an amazing job in lane change improvement. I think the lane change is coming from end to end, probably. I don't know. This is very human-like.
I think they've updated it to copy some of the behaviors that the end-to-end model's showing.
For sure. For sure.
But they haven't fully switched over.
Yeah, they're bringing in small pieces. Some pieces, like lane change pieces, definitely not the old lane change.
Yeah. Those old lane changes could not handle something like that.
No way. It would have been in that far right lane.
It would have exited on Rosecrans.
Exactly. El Segundo, actually.
So pretty amazing to be, at LAX and pick someone up and be able to just touch one button and it can take you home no matter how crazy it gets.
Yeah.
I don't know how anybody can live in LA and not have this software.
I want to see. Do you keep a track of all your FSD drives? I wanted to see the longest stretch you have had without any interventions on all your drives that you did. Well, like since 12.5 came out, how many interventions did you have? When was the last time you had an intervention?
Yeah, good idea. I should probably keep track of that.
Because if you get like say 100 days in a row, right? No intervention. 200 days in a row, 300 days. At some point in time, we gotta say, hey guys, we're there now. It's been a year.
Yeah.
I haven't had any intervention.
Right.
Because I don't remember an intervention for almost like months since I've been using FSD.
Well, I drive a lot more than you. I've seen interventions.
You do.
Maybe once every week or two.
Really?
Yeah. I haven't really had too many safety.
Like, what would be the intervention you experience? What situation was it?
I don't know. It's pretty rare at this point.
Yeah, I mean, unless somebody does something stupid, like, jumps in the middle of the road and the car I had to take out manually.
I mean, even if someone jumps in the middle of the road, it's usually pretty good at handling that.
I don't recall an intervention then from my part. I may have lost patience sometimes in a very congested traffic or whatever on the street roads and just decided to turn it off and manually drive. But
on 12.5, you don't even have that problem anymore because it's so assertive itself.
Yeah.
So you don't really even lose patience as much.
Correct. Yeah, because 12.4 was
did a good job
driving like an old man.
It did a good job of keeping distance to this thing.
I know that's another thing, that it sees these attachments now and it maintains a good distance. Previously it had a little bit of trouble with that. Especially in E11.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Nice acceleration. Road's empty. Speed limit is good. Why not?
Yeah, really comfortable, not frustratingly slow like some of the older builds.
Correct.
Just so human-like that you don't even want to lift a
Yeah.
finger to correct anything.
But very patient at the airport in that bumper to bumper situation.
Yeah, able to be patient, but then also assertive.
Yeah.
Once it has free space. This has to be one of the most amazing pieces of software I've ever seen in 30 years.
True. I'm surprised why the rest of the world is not, coming in to help out in accelerating the development of this technology. Like, they're letting Tesla do it all by themselves. Nobody is, offering any funds, any further researches or technologies. Like, this is really amazing that such a amazing, groundbreaking, historical event will be created when cars will be driving themselves. It's going to be probably bigger than the internet or our industrial revolution. And yet, the entire burden of that revolution is put on one company.
Well, there's other companies like Waymo, obviously.
No, but I don't think Waymo is something that would be deployed worldwide. Because I see Tesla's technology doesn't really need to do all kinds of mapping. Like, you want to go to a remote town in Arkansas, you can go in Tesla. You don't need to map it. It works anywhere, drives in parking structures, drives in malls, in the parking lots, and everything I've seen. So in the bigger picture, the way they train it is also so much better in terms of the promises of its success compared to something like Waymo or Cruise others use. First of all, I think that putting so much hardware on the car is a recipe for failure. So minimum hardware is, letting the software do the driving is what can go wrong with it. Only software can go wrong, and that's easier to fix and manage compared to, your LiDAR can go wrong, other sensors can go wrong, false data, all kinds of stuff. Anyway.
Definitely adds a lot of complexity.
Yeah. I mean, you think on October 10th, they're going to show us a car that does not have the steering wheel?
Yeah.
And
they're calling it the cyber cab.
And then they're going to say, we're going to make this car into production by 2025, something like that.
Yeah.
And seek approvals from authorities.
Yeah, NHTSA's already started the rulemaking process for allowing cars without steering wheel and pedals. Waymo's working on getting one on the road without physical controls.
Makes sense.
Yeah, it's not necessary. I mean,
if there's nobody there.
Yeah, they've already got driverless cars.
Yeah.
So you might as well just remove the controls at this point.
And you can still control it with technology, right? With software.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I mean, have a Bluetooth, you know, PlayStation controls in the car
Yeah.
that can control it, right?
Hmm.
So anyway, I think it'd be cool if Tesla gets the permission to manufacture and sell those cars.
Hmm.
And I think they'll probably start with California or Texas,
Hmm.
and and then the rest of the states and the rest of the world follows.
Yeah, it'd be
I think
cool.
it's going to be a very big moment. It's going to spread really rapidly. It reminds me of that, LED screens when we used to have those CRT monitors, and the LED screens came in. They were very expensive, and somebody said, "Oh, it'll take them like 5 years before they replace every CRT screen on computers." But literally in a year, nobody had the other ones. Like something that's significantly better disrupts it so fast.
Hmm.
Once you have a car that's driving by itself, nobody's going to want to drive a car that they have to drive or buy a car that
Yeah.
they know it will have no resale value.
Right.
So the other companies will have a hard time to sell their cars.
Yeah. I'd like to get a cyber cab. That'd be cool to have a car with no controls.
We all will.
Hmm.
But why are they calling it a cab? Cab refers to like a taxi.
Yeah. Well, they're gonna have, I think, a more affordable compact vehicle, and then they're gonna have this vehicle without any controls. So no steering wheel, no pedals.
Yeah, but I think they should just call it model whatever. Because aren't all the cars in future going to be like that? So,
Well,
you know.
this is just the first one they're doing without controls. So they're calling it the cyber cab. It's gonna be like a two-seat vehicle.
You think it's going to be what Waymo's doing, but without the steering wheel?
Well, it's basically just gonna be a two-seat vehicle,
Yeah.
and then the inside. So it's a smaller vehicle, but you feel like there's a lot of inside space because it's only one row of seats. So the entire interior space goes for that one single bench of seats.
No, I understand that. I'm just saying that. Do you feel that Cybercab will be operated by Tesla, and you will have an app like Uber and Waymo have the app, where you call a Cybercab and it picks you up and drops you somewhere, right?
Yeah,
But you can't own one.
I think it'll be both. I think Tesla's gonna have some that they own, but then also customers will be able to own them as well.
I think first step will be they'll own it
Mhm.
until they get that um, the wrinkles out, in technology as they experience new challenges in that. So they'll probably play that for a year or so, and then they might come in and say, "Oh, we had it on the year. Our, you know, operators from remote never had to do any interventions or anything like that. So this is great. There was no phone home from the car for any situation. It handled everything really well, and we're ready to let average citizen own one of these."
Mhm.
But I think for a year or two, they'll probably keep the ownership, but they'll be available in major cities.
Maybe.
Yeah. The big difference between Waymo and Tesla is Tesla owns the car, manufactures the car themselves. So it's like Apple kind of company when it comes to this thing. They have the software and the hardware. They build both together to work best with each other.
Mhm.
Waymo is using General Motors or some other company,
Jaguar.
Jaguar as a car.
Jaguar's not making those cars anymore, though, unfortunately.
Yeah,
So
but
now they're doing Zeekr.
well, whatever they're doing, it's really it won't have that experience, like Tesla would, because Tesla's hardware and software are built by the same company and they're designed to work well together.
Well, their car drives pretty well. The main issue is just that it's limited. You can't buy one. You can't take it wherever you want. You can't have it drive wherever you want.
Yeah.
It has a lot of restrictions to get to driverless.
First of all, they would not let anybody own a Waymo and drive like we're driving from the airport or wherever, whatever we choose. So they're controlling the drive, right?
Right.
So number two, they're limited to 2 or 3 cities, and within those cities they have a geofence where they operate, which makes it very restrictive. So to me, their car is still in the laboratory.
To some extent, I mean, they are giving rides to the public.
Yeah, but public cannot own the car.
Yeah.
Like this car does the same thing. It drives just like Waymo, but we get to choose where we go. It doesn't have any restrictions.
Yeah. I mean, in some ways, it can actually drive better than a Waymo and have less restrictions.
Correct.
But because there's no guardrails on it, you need a human to supervise.
True, you need a human to supervise, but you and me have been experiencing that's hardly needed. I mean, we've been in this car for the last 25 minutes. We've been having a conversation without either of us worrying about it not stopping appropriately at a traffic light or whatever, or making lane changes that are unsafe. It hasn't done any of that, and it's not doing it. And it's been so many times repeatedly now that our guard's dropped.
Well, no, I don't think you can let your guard down. I'm still paying attention, even though it...
Yeah, we are paying attention, but the level of anxiety I used to have initially is down from 100 to 10, like it's gone.
Yeah.
90% of it's gone.
Right.
So, and that's because
It's very reliable.
exactly
It doesn't make mistakes. It's very rare for it to make a mistake.
Well, not only it doesn't make mistake, it doesn't also make you feel unsafe. That's the key.
Yeah.
So it's not just it's driving and didn't hit anyone, right? It could be doing that, but still make you feel like, oh, I don't want to be in this car, right?
Right.
But it's not doing that. It's driving extremely well, like a professional driver, makes you feel very safe. And it depicts that responsible behavior of a driver. And that's important for passengers.
Right.
Passengers care for that feeling, that the driver drove in such a way that I could read a newspaper and not worry about, where the car is going, because the driver's professional.
Yeah, seems like it might not be too long before you can start turning off the attention monitoring in some cases. Like, I would suggest maybe starting... That was good how it knew that person, like, they looked like they were coming right at us, but it was smart enough to know that they weren't. But yeah, I think maybe starting on the highways, if you're in a traffic jam, they can say, okay, we'll turn it off if you're going under, let's say, 40 miles an hour on the highway. And, then scale up from there.
True. And very easy to do that. Isn't Mercedes or somebody already doing that?
Yeah. That's what Mercedes has done on the highway in traffic jams. They turn off. Well, I mean, they still have attention monitoring. They make sure you don't go to sleep and stuff like that.
But they turn off the nag.
Yeah. And you can even put on a movie or something on the screen.
That might be too much.
Yeah, maybe.
So while the self-driving technology is improving, are there other improvements happening in general, you know, parts of the car, like for example, battery or battery efficiencies going up? Are we going to see 1,000-mile range car in the near future with the advancements in the battery technologies that are happening? Is any of them being discussed or talked? Because I mean, I like to see that happening concurrently while we're making self-driving cars. I like to also see batteries getting cheaper and more efficient, so we can have, you know, 1,000-mile charge from the same price range.
Well, the cars are definitely getting more efficient and the batteries are definitely getting cheaper, but there doesn't really seem to be much more usefulness to having more than 400 to 500 miles in an EV, because most days you're only driving, 20, 30 miles. So to have, 1,000 miles of battery, it makes more sense to bring the cost down, or even make two EVs that are 500 miles rather than 1,000 miles to make, scale up the EVs more rather than increase their range to a point that's excessive.
Well, then the price would come down at least.
Yeah.
So that's a improvement too.
Yeah.
If the price comes down, instead of, I would want to see 500-mile range, because I drive to Palm Springs and back. It's around 150 miles each way, so about 300 miles.
Yeah.
So
I mean, the Lucid Air can do 520 miles.
Yeah.
So there are EVs on the market that do 500.
No, but why hasn't Tesla taken their range on? Because they took it all the way to 400, right? 390 something.
405, yeah.
So why not take it to 500?
Well, I think it would just increase the cost of the car.
No, I'm just saying that, you know how,
The Cybertruck can do up to 470
but with an extension.
with the range extender,
Yeah.
yeah.
But I'm hoping that battery technologies will get,
Mhm.
now that so much focus is on them. It's like that CPU war, remember?
Yeah.
Yeah, like we had, 200 gigahertz, and then, kept going up and up and up,
Yeah.
So I think I'm pretty sure now that so much importance and emphasis is on these batteries, because all the cars are going to be EV, the companies that are doing research on batteries and all of that, they're going to put more funds into trying to make their batteries cheaper and provide, longer range at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, range isn't really an issue, I don't think, for most people anymore. These things go so long that nobody ever drives that much in a day. Even if you're an Uber driver driving all day, you can't run down the battery.
Well, we have a gas station at every intersection, every corner in LA. We don't have a charging station at every intersection, every corner. So even though we have 400-mile range, if I forgot to charge,
Well, there's
for a few days,
quite a few chargers. I mean,
I know there
if you
are.
stop for 5 minutes, you can get 7,500 miles of range.
Correct. No, I'm just saying that with gas cars, we don't even think about where I'm going. Are
Yeah, I
the
mean,
chargers there all there?
Look at all these chargers all across
Yeah.
LA. They're pretty much everywhere too.
How many gas stations would there be in the map that you just showed? Millions, probably thousands. I mean, not millions, probably thousands. Gas stations.
I mean,
are
they're building a lot
everywhere.
of chargers all the time. It's never really a problem. I never have to charge during the day. You just charge at home.
No, I understand that. I'm just saying that comfort level, once charges will be just like gas stations, then you're right.
I feel like it's almost getting to that point here in California. There's so many of them. Like, you can't really go far
Has
without
anybody
finding
done
one.
any study on total number of charging stations in California versus gas stations?
No. I mean, if you count people's chargers at home, there's probably more than gas stations.
No, not home. I'm just saying once you leave the home, you're on the road.
Yeah, obviously there's more gas stations than fast chargers.
But where are we compared to that? Like, are there like, 500,000 gas stations and 300,000 charging? I mean, what's the?
I don't know off the top of my head.
But do you know how many charging stations there are in California?
Not off the top of my head.
Not just Tesla.
I don't know.
Yeah. Well, like approximately maybe over 200,000. You think?
I have no
over
idea.
100,000, over 10,000, probably over 10,000 for sure.
All I know is it's way more than I need.
Yeah.
They have chargers everywhere now. And not just Tesla, Electrify America.
No. Why is it going this way? It decides to like, I was going the wrong way. Okay, go now. Gate is open. Wait for the gate to open. Very smart. Very smart. Oh.
So from the airport all the way back.
Yeah.
Without a single touch of anything.
Yep.
Pretty crazy.
Yeah. Not too far from where it would actually park in the garage.
All right, that's it.
Thank you, Omar.
LAX to Palos Verdes with 0 interventions. Thanks for watching.